Hello, I just wanted to show you an example of a mark sheet I created for a school who wanted to replicate the NAHT's key performance indicator system using SIMS. Their view on the system was that they wanted to record formative assessments. So that means we're taking the individual statements that the NAHT have identified as being priority statements, their key performance indicators, and we've put them onto this mark sheet. And you can see here that we've replicated the Maths Year 5 key performance indicators. I think there's 17 in total, and they correspond with these 17 coloured columns across here. We decided to allow teachers to enter 0 for each pupil in each of these, or a 1, or a 2, or a 3. 0 and 1 represent pupils who are working below that expectation. 2 are pupils who've achieved that particular statement, and 3 are pupils who've exceeded that particular statement. So you can see there the colours there reflect that. I've not put too many zeros on there, but there's an example of a 0. Obviously 0 is below expectation, so that comes up as red. So these are just numbers. I was a little bit worried at first in case it was a little bit incomprehensible, because we had to make some shortcuts in naming the columns. You can see here this particular aspect, the column header is a little bit short. But don't forget, with these short headers, what you can do is you can right click on the column heading and you can view aspect details. So if you're not quite sure what identifies multiples A actually refers to on the mark sheet, right clicking and clicking view aspect details will show you this screen, and I've put the whole text there from the NAHT system so teachers can understand which particular column that refers to. As I say, there's 17 identified here. You can see in this particular column here, we haven't entered any data. Perhaps that reflects the fact that we haven't taught that particular part of the course yet. This, don't forget, is looking at Year 5 autumn term. So in the autumn term, you wouldn't necessarily expect too many people to be green or even yellow, mainly because those parts of the curriculum haven't really been explored in any depth by this stage. You can see, as usual, we've got a column here that would show the pupil's old-fashioned Key Stage 1 result there. We've got a column here that again would show the pupil's old-fashioned sub-level result from the previous year, which in this case is Year 4. We've got a new column here, last year's average. What we do on this particular mark sheet is we average out all these marks, and that generates this column here, the average score. So a 1 is worth 1, a 2 is worth 2, and a 3 is worth 3. And all we do is we average that out. So at every stage during the year, we've got access to the average score there. We've also got a total score, and again that's just totting up the values of all these numbers across here. And we've also got a standardized score. So we've used a formula here to work out, given that there's 17 potential columns here, and I suppose the maximum will be 17 times 3. This particular pupil's got 24. So we can calculate then a standardized score. The idea of a standardized score is perhaps that we'd expect our pupils to get 100. 101 therefore is above expectations, 99 is slightly below expectations. And again, because this is in the autumn term, we wouldn't expect too many people to be a long way above expectations. That would hopefully get better in the spring terms. Okay, so that's the standardized score there. We've also got some columns here that work out in how many of these 17 areas of the curriculum is this pupil working below expectations. Well, this particular pupil is working below expectations in 8. This particular pupil has met, i.e. got a 2 grade in 8 of those expectations, and is not above in any of them. So they're not working at a 3 in any of those. Final column here, achieved, or well, we've called it achieved, and that's all the pupils who are met or above. So this is achieved. In this final column here, we set that up for an overall summative judgment. If I right click and show aspect details, we'll see what values we can have in here. So the system will automatically allocate one of these grades, and it automatically allocates one of these grades depending on the standardized score down here. So if they've got more than 60 in the standardized there, it will give them a grade of WB, or well below. For example, this 68 is their standardized score, so it's given them a grade of WB. Between 78 and 90, it gives them a grade of below. So you can see here some examples of pupils who've been given the B grade, the below grade, because their score is between 78 and 90. From 90 onwards, it classifies them as A for at. So there's somebody who's got 94, so they're A for at. The autumn term, I don't have anybody who's above, but if you had somebody whose standardized score was 105 or above, it will give them an AA. And if they're higher than 113, it will give them a AAA status. Close that down. Of course, everything you can do with a mark sheet, you can do with this mark sheet. So that means all the group filters are there, so I can save this by pupil premium, or I can look at free school meals, or I can look at special needs, any of the usual filters we can apply to this grid. We've also got the option of right-clicking on any of these column headers, and if we right-click, we can show the grade distributions. So there's the grade distributions of the overall summative grades. And if we have a look at grade distribution of this particular part of the curriculum, so for this particular part of the curriculum, you can see that, okay, 2 is our met expectations grade, so 75% of this particular class have met expectations. We can do that with every single one of these individual statements. We can also do it with this column. This one, if you remember, shows us how many elements the pupil has met or achieved. Right-click on the column header, show the grade distribution. So we know that, for example, 16% of our pupils have met or exceeded in 12 or more of those statements. So that's it. That's a very quick guided tour of a formative solution for the NAHT's key performance indicators. Thank you.